Welcome to Module 2. You did it. I want to congratulate you on getting through the mindset module. I know looking at some of those thoughts and experiences can be painful, but lucky for you, this module 2, is all about the feels. It's all about feeling the emotions that we have that we've been suppressing for so long. Now, don't go running away. I know that sounds scary, but I promise you that you're really actually gonna end up loving this module, because once you understand your emotions, everything is just so clear. Our emotions are dictated by our thoughts and experiences and how we perceive ourselves and our surroundings and our life. You already know how powerful your thoughts are. We just spent a whole module on it. So now it's time to understand, okay, how are those things affecting my emotions? And how are those emotions then affecting my behavior and the way that I live my life and experience my body and the sensations in my body? It's all connected. So the reason why we talked about mindset first is because our thoughts make us feel some type of way. So now we're talking about the feeling. Our thoughts will always lead us to an emotion. Feeling that emotion gives us a choice. Subconsciously, we have a choice of either allowing us to feel it or avoiding it. And a lot of times we suppress it and we avoid it because we don't want to feel it. So we ignore it and we look the other way. No matter what choice you make, feeling it or avoiding it, that's going to trigger some type of behavior. When you feel an emotion, if you choose to see it and accept it and love it and experience it, or if you choose to avoid it and suppress it, there's going to be some type of behavior that is a result from both of those choices. One will be much more supportive of you, and one will lead to self-sabotaging behaviors like binge eating or over-exercising. Based on the sensation that you feel inside of your body, you're going to engage in some type of behavior. When we avoid those uncomfortable sensations or those painful emotions that we don't want to feel, this often leads us down the path of self-sabotaging behaviors. So in this lesson, we're going to talk all about what emotional eating is, because we have all experienced this at one point or another in our lives. I know you want to know about emotional eating and how to stop it, so this lesson is really going to dig into that and show you how you can decipher and stop yourself from going down that path of self-sabotage, how you can stop. Emotional eating or stress eating is just a symptom. The behaviors that you're engaging in related to your body and your eating habits, it's not about the food. That's what you need to understand. It's never about the food. It's just a symptom of an underlying deep-rooted issue that you have left untethered and untouched, that's just bubbling up to its surface. And you are trying to keep it down. You don't want to feel it, so you're trying to push it down, so when it starts to come up, you stuff it down again with food. That's what emotional eating is. A lot of us also emotionally eat just to fill the time. But what are we actually hiding from? What are we actually avoiding when we turn to food as a drug or a coping mechanism? Let's go back a little bit to that concept of there is no good or bad in the world. There just are things. So in terms of emotions, there are no good or bad emotions, but we've been taught at a very young age that pain and sadness are bad emotions. So when we feel them, we feel bad about ourselves. We don't like them. We try to hide away from them, so we stuff them down because we're avoiding them. So we're either emotionally eating to fill that void, or to kind of take our minds out of the experience and the emotion that we're feeling at that moment. So it's one or the other. It's either avoidance or trying to fill and meet an emotional need. But it's so important for you to peel back the layers and get intimate with yourself and understand what the heck is going on inside of you here, and how it's translating into your physical life and self-sabotaging behaviors. It's always a much deeper issue at hand. The eating and the body stuff, it's all just a symptom of what's going on inside. It's a deeper issue. It's something that hasn't been acknowledged and it needs healed. And once you acknowledge and heal the root issue, the behavior will take care of itself, because you won't feel that disconnection or feel out of alignment. You won't feel that pain. You won't need to fill a void because the deeper root has been taken care of. we're gonna get really clear on what the different sensations are in your body when you're physically hungry, when your body actually needs nourishment, and when you're emotionally hungry, when you're feeling sad or tired or anxious or bored, lonely. There are specific visceral sensations that are gonna show up in your body, and you need to be able to decipher, does my body really need food right now? Or am I just trying to fill a void? So I want you to really start to get familiar and pay attention to what each of these sensations feels like in your body, because for each person, it's gonna be different. My physical hunger is gonna look a lot different than yours, and yours is gonna look a lot different than your neighbor's. So remember that your body will always tell you what it needs. It always communicates to you when it needs something, when it needs nourishment, when you're out of alignment, you're gonna feel something. So it's your responsibility to start paying attention to those messages and signals and decoding them, understanding, what does this sensation mean? What is my body trying to tell me? And then giving your body what it needs. Most people, when they're physically hungry, physical hunger will manifest itself in ways that you might not think of. So anxiety sometimes will show up when you're physically hungry. You can get irritable, lightheaded, dizziness, you can have headaches, you can lose focus. There are a lot of sensations and feelings and symptoms of being physically hungry that have nothing to do with your stomach. I never feel hunger in my stomach. It's always in my head or my mood or lack of focus. Some people do get an emptiness in their stomach. It's up to you to decode and understand what your body is telling you. Emotional hunger, on the other hand, feels very different from physical hunger. It will often show up in terms of emotions, but we don't want to feel those emotions. So remember that we've been conditioned to not trust our bodies at all. We're conditioned to fear and not listen to them and not trust our emotions and not trust what our body is telling us. So we're all up in our head thinking, what the heck is going on here? This is where you're gonna reconnect with your body and learn to listen to your body's signals. So remember what I said in the beginning of this video lesson is emotional hunger is usually the result of a sensation that we don't wanna feel, and we're either trying to fill a void or distracting us from unpleasant or uncomfortable feelings or thoughts or memories. It's something we do to either fill a void, meet an emotional need that have not been met for ourselves, or we're numbing out. We don't want to feel certain sensations. We don't want to think about that thing that happened way back when. We don't want to think about that guy. We don't want to think about that job that we didn't get. So we numb out, we eat. It's time for you to go in there, dig around a little bit and move some things around. And once you take care of that emotional need or acknowledge those painful experiences and memories and thoughts, you will no longer feel triggered to emotionally eat or stress eat. So you need to get familiar with what your triggers are. What are your triggers? When do you find yourself going for food when you're not physically hungry? So do you always go looking for a snack before a big presentation at work? Do you come home from work and go straight to the pantry and get a bottle of wine out and just like numb out because you don't want to think about what happened at your job? Do you crave something sweet right before you have to do something that you don't like? Do you eat when you're bored? These are all questions that you need to ask yourself. After you break up with someone or you have a heartbreak, do you just come home and go straight to the kitchen and get out your big pint of Ben & Jerry's and just eat? I know we've all been there. I know we've all done some type of behavior like this, used food to numb out, to make ourselves feel better for the time being, and then the next day or 10 minutes later, we feel so guilty about ourselves because it's not in alignment with who we are. It's your job to determine what physical hunger feels and looks like in your body and what emotional triggers you have when it comes to emotional eating and stress eating. They're very, very different hungers. They're both hunger, one's emotional and one's physical. Your body will either tell you it needs nourishment, or you'll have uncomfortable sensations in your body that you're trying to suppress or trying to fill a void. I want you to get super clear on one thing. I know a lot of people fear physical hunger. They worry about what they're gonna do if they get hungry. So they pack snacks, they pack all these things. Don't fear hunger. Hunger is just simply a sensation. You're allowed to feel hungry, and it's important that you follow through with what your body's telling you. So don't fear being hungry, but I do want you to get comfortable understanding what that physical hunger feels like in your body. So sit with it for a minute or two. Observe it. Understand what your physical hunger looks like and how you can differentiate it from your emotional hunger. It's so important that you learn to know the difference, and this is gonna be how you start to reconnect with your body, how you get back into your body and start listening and moving some sensations around, looking at some things, understanding your triggers. This is where it all starts to connect. So before you move on to lesson 2, make sure that you download the worksheet. You guys know the drill by now. Download the worksheet, complete the exercises, and again, you have a whole day, 2 days actually, between today and the following, not tomorrow, but the day after, to go through all of these exercises and get to know what's going on in your body. So I want you to take as much time as you need, just dig deep. Don't be afraid to get into some of the things that you have been avoiding for a long time, because looking at those things and understanding those things, it is where so much magic happens. And I know that this is scary because we're in emotions now, but this is where like the bread and butter is, because once you understand your emotions, everything is so clear and you're able to completely transform. So go ahead, download the worksheet, print it out, and complete the exercises in their entirety, get specific, and I'll see you in lesson 2.